Hi there, it's Sandra, and you are listening to the podcast A Duchess Like Us. Hello, and welcome to episode 9 of A Duchess Like Us, a podcast that reports positively and fairly on Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Today, I'm so pleased that we're back, and I have my co-host here. So, ladies, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yes, we certainly will. I'm Gayle, otherwise known as Breakthrough Diva on social media, so you can follow me on Twitter. And in fact, I'm going to claim it. I am now Meghan's #1 fan, and I will explain why later, I'm sure, when we start talking about her photos.
Okay, go on.
I can't follow that one up, but I'm Nelly, and I'm your foul-mouthed sister from over Hadrian's Wall. You can follow me at Harklestan. It's a private account, so no bots or fake people. And please, if you just started your account in 2019, forget it. I'm not going to follow you. Tough shit.
Fair enough.
She's so hardcore.
What can you say? Okay, so the last week or so has been quite interesting for the Sussex Squad fans. Meghan has attended a number of events and received support from some notable people. We've also seen considerably more of Meghan and Harry during the past week, because in the UK we were on the run-up to the Remembrance Sunday, a very important event on the calendar for the UK and Commonwealth. And so, like some other members of the royal family, Meghan and Harry have been attending events on behalf of the Queen or with the Queen and the rest of the royal family. So today, in this episode of the podcast, we're going to cover a few topics that were really interesting. The first one being female members of Parliament, MPs, send a letter of support to Meghan regarding her distasteful media coverage. Number 2, and this one's going to annoy me a bit, but I've got to say it. The Grenfell Tower fire and the sudden interest of the other couple. And number 3, we're going to end on a positive. The private visit of Meghan to the opening of the new site of the Luminary Bakery. Okay, so let's start with number 1. Female MPs send an open letter of support to Meghan regarding her distasteful media coverage. So on the 29th of October 2019, an open letter of support was sent to Meghan from UK MPs. The letter was signed by 72 female MPs from all different political persuasions to show that they supported her and, in their own words, stood with her regarding, as they put it, her distasteful media coverage. Some of the female MPs who signed the letter were Diane Abbott and Jess Phillips. And Meghan personally phoned the Labour MP, Holly Lynch, to thank her for writing the letter and getting the other female MPs to sign it. So, ladies, what do you think? How do you feel about these female MPs actually signing a letter, basically agreeing with what we've all been saying, that she has been treated distastefully by the UK media? How do you feel about that?
I'm happy that women in political public service have noticed this, and and have sort of spoken up, have put their name and spoken up about it. My only sort of gripe is sort of their intentions, given one of these MPs went on a radio show and could not necessarily defend her case as to the types of reports going on about Meghan. So, did they read it, or did they have any understanding as to did they have any understanding of what the coverage was, or do they just want to put their name to something that just because it's, you know, trendy to defend the Duchess of Sussex? I question some of their motives. But other than that, but with the exception of Holly Lynch, who, for example, who has been interviewed by a number of, you know, foreign outlets, because they took notice, especially American ones, and she came with all the receipts, you know, quoting Sarah Vine's bullshit, quoting Bojo the Clown's sister's bullshit.
Rachel.
Yeah.
She came with the receipts and was very vigorous in her defense. But then you get, you know, the likes of Annalise Dodds, who goes on fucking Dan Woeful-Wotan's talk show and couldn't do that. So I have to question, why did you sign it, and why did you even decide to go on the program and, you know, poorly defend your case, and on that cunt's radio show as well. Sorry. I hate Dan Wotan.
Let's call him something else. We'll find something for him.
I usually call him Woeful.
Yes.
Woeful. Dan Woeful. Dan Woeful. But yes. So yeah. I can understand, sort of, like I said, Holly Lynch, full praise to her. She knew what the hell she was doing, and I'm happy that she got, you know, 72 of them. To be fair, it's 72 out of 202 female MPs, and there were some very notable exceptions from there. Of course, a lot of them were from the Conservative Party, who are, you know, notable BAME MPs that were not there. I took notice of that. But no, I'm pretty, you know, I'm happy that these women took a stand. But I question their motives in some respect, and yeah, that's all I have to say.
I don't have any issue with it at all. You know, I'm all for women supporting women. So yeah, you know, way to go, Holly and your girls. I'm glad that you managed to do that. What's really got my goat about it, though, has been the reaction to it. You know, the reaction from the media has been almost to vilify and marginalize them, as if, you know, as if they've done, you know, they almost tried to make it sound at first like, you know, it was like some girl gang in the school playground that's all rallied around Meghan, and, you know, when it's not like that. These are women of influence. They're women of power, and some of them are emerging power, whether you agree with their politics or not. But these are, you know, substantial women who have a say and deserve to have a say. And they've seen that somebody else who is also in the public eye has been victimized and is being bullied. And they're like, well, hold on a minute. We know what this feels like, because we see our colleagues doing exactly and being subjected to the same thing, where they can't even stand to do their jobs anymore. You know, one of the most,
that's true.
One of the most horrendous things that I read, one of the most heart-wrenching actually things that I read on Twitter just a few weeks ago, was Yvonne Cooper's daughter. Was it Yvonne Cooper?
Yvette Cooper.
Yvette Cooper, that's it. I was thinking, that doesn't sound right. Was Yvette Cooper's daughter, her open letter about how it, and I just thought, I don't agree with Yvette Cooper or Ed Balls or whoever her husband is, you know. But at the end of the day, I could agree with her pain as a mother and as a woman going through what she's going through, trying to just do the best for her family, her constituents, and then being subjected to that she can't even do her job. That's not fair. So my beef is about the reaction to it, and how some of the tabloids and the newspapers tried to make it out like, you know, they were a girl gang coming together to protect our leader, Meghan, or that they were doing something wrong. They're not doing anything wrong. They're not doing anything wrong. And this brings us on to the other point. You know, we know because we're on the front line. We are the front line of defence when it comes to Meghan and as the Sussex squad. And we know that when you have others, the others fans or stands or whatever they want to call themselves, you know, come up against us and want to be nasty and cruel and accuse us of all sorts of things. But I always say projection, perception is projection, you know, and that's exactly what it is with them. They are projecting onto us exactly what they perceive. And when you get those kind of people, you know, doing that kind of bullying and nastiness and name calling and all sorts of crap, they're legitimized by the press, who are calling out MPs for standing up for what's right.
Yep.
So, you know, the whole thing is it's a cycle.
Yeah. Can
my,
we also
issue on that is that I think the press are really disgusting in the fact that they're running down these MPs when you just have to remember what 3.5 years ago Jo Cox was murdered.
Jo Cox.
Thank you.
Jo Cox was murdered.
And she was
murdered for what? Doing her job.
We are here a month today. We're going to be voting in a general election, okay, which really is going to be is based on Brexit. Let's call it what it is, right? And because of Brexit, that woman lost her life. Jo Cox lost her life due to the lies and manipulations that were told in the press. So it's not far-fetched. It's not dramatic. It's not, oh, honestly, you guys are just making a mountain out of a molehill. When you say Meghan and Harry and Archie are at risk. Yeah. Because you've got lunatics running around believing everything that is said in the press, even the stuff that has been proven to be untrue. Up to the other day, I had a woman, you know, on social media saying to me, well, she just needs to stay in her house and lock the door because she's already told the neighbours not to talk to her. Who wants to see her and her baby anyway? No one cares about them round there. They're not even allowed to pet the dog if they see the dog, which was stupid Emu the Seer, you know, and her column in The Sun about Meg's commandments, which has been proven to be untrue. It's not true, people. For all you imposters listening to this Duchess Like Us podcast trying to get information, you're not real supporters of the Sussexes, you're just listening. I'm going to tell you again, it's not true, okay? Be more discerning about what you're listening to and what you are then reporting as facts. Yeah.
And the other thing also is you got the likes of piece of shit Morgan on his, on Twitter saying that this is an attack on the freedom of the press. No, it's not an attack on the freedom of the press if you're sprouting bullshit and lies, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just, you.
My only other issue with it is that I think that they should have released this letter a lot earlier. Because we're coming to the ending of this session of Parliament. We've got an election in a month's time, and I think it would have been more effective if it had been done early. I'm not running them down. I still think it's brilliant that they've done it. I just wish that it was earlier, because now it's gonna get lost in the political shenanigans that's coming up for the next month or so, and this really important thing is going to be forgotten about. And that's what upsets me about it. But I'm so glad they did it. I'm glad
they did it as well. Just one other quick aside from this, is recently, certainly in the since the documentary, let's say, since the documentary, Meghan in particular, Harry as well, but Meghan in particular, has come under some real, even not so much in the press, because the press have been very clever. They're still manipulative with what they're saying. They're still pushing the same narrative, but they're being very clever and very careful as to how they do that. But what I found is that the nastiness has intensified towards Meghan from those right-wing commentators. So the Daily Mail is trying to be as nice as they can be, apart from the fact they had the other daughter on there the other day. But the comments if you look in their the comments have really intensified, and I think that they're turning up the heat.
Are you talking about comments of the readers or comments of
the readers? The readers comments.
Don't go to the readers' comments. That will give you cancer.
Let me tell you, it's disgusting. But even today, Emu's column on the front page of the Sun, which is just a load of stupid. And there are some people who only read that. They don't see that actually what Stella did is exactly the same thing that Stuart Parvin did regarding the Queen.
Oh yeah. And where's the fucking outrage for that?
Yeah,
none. There's none.
It's not even mentioned.
And you know why they've done it? You know what they've all gone berserk about it? Because it was Remembrance Sunday, but she looked stunning. She looked absolutely stunning. And it's jealousy. It's jealousy that's killing them.
This is why I am her number one fan, because I've decided that for Meghan and Meghan alone, I'm prepared to swing both ways. Yes, I said it publicly. Right? Because my girl was flames.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She looked amazing. She didn't put a foot wrong on that balcony. She did exactly what is expected her to do, and they couldn't find fault with it.
Yeah.
And so now they're picking on nonsense.
Exactly. She looked amazing.
Amazing. What amazing? Because she looked. I mean, she was so demure. She wore next to no jewelry.
Yeah.
And then the makeup was her usual sort of simple, the usual sort of simple self, which they couldn't find fault with that. So whereas last year they were saying how they compared her looks with Kate, as they always do, saying how Meghan is all gone all Hollywood glam for that.
Yeah, she was Hollywood. So, that's what they said last year.
Yeah, and she looked so demure to the point that she was stunning. The hat was something. The hat was something out of was so Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn. Mm-hmm. She looked like she'd stepped off the set of Breakfast at Tiffany. She looked amazing.
Yeah.
This narrative that the others are trying to push about her cosplaying Diana. I mean, we haven't even got enough time on this.
No,
listen with that one, right? Listen with this one, right? I've got to say this bit on this. They keep on going about Diana, but in 2015 or 16, Queen Maxima of Holland was on the balcony with a wide brim hat, and looked stunning too. She weren't copying nobody. You're going to say that Queen Maxima copied Diana as well?
Not only that,
stupidness. It really is.
It's a false narrative, because they do not just sell the one wide brim hat. So you wear black shoes, I wear black shoes, and Nelly wears black shoes. What we're all cosplaying, and they're black shoes, right?
Exactly.
It's just ridiculous. So and then you've got such. Look, I love. Pagan, if you're listening, you're my girl. Pagan Trelawney, love her.
Yes,
right?
Yes, exactly.
Love her. Because when she comes out with the receipts, oh my gosh, and she's got Kate, Diana, Kate, pictures after pictures. They could as well just exchange clothes. She literally took them off Diana's back and put them on her own.
It's ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous. So anyway, let's end that bit there, because we got more to say later. But as I said, summarising, we are all pleased that the MPs signed that letter, and I'm glad it's out there in public for people to see that the MPs of the UK Parliament are actually supporting Meghan, and they are acknowledging and they are supporting her in the fact that the UK press are just treating her, Meghan, that is, disgracefully. And that's what I'm going to say.
Can I just say one thing as well about that letter? Old, outdated colonial attitudes. How do we feel about that? Just come out and say racism.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's just a word salad for racism, isn't it?
It is. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
But although Holly Lynch did go on and explain, saying that it's all the sexism and the xenophobia and everything else in between that Meghan has experienced from the press. I get it, but I'm like, bitch, just say racism, just say xenophobia, just put it in there. But then again, yeah. Anyways, let's move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the second point I want to talk about, and this, I have to put it in the middle. I didn't want to put it on the end because I didn't want to end the podcast on a really negative note. So I put it in the middle. So we'll do it. We'll get it over and done with. And we'll move on to good stuff. Right.
Let the dragging commence.
Yes. So we've got the next point is the Grenfell Tower fire and the sudden interest of the other couple. Right. Okay. So on the 7th of November 2019, the Cambridges attended the launch of the National Emergencies Trust, which was established in 2017. The aim of the National Emergencies Trust is to manage fundraising and distribution of goods and funds more effectively after a national disaster or emergency. One of the things that was said by the Duke of Cambridge was in speech marks, donations and support after the Grenfell fire seemed like it wasn't well targeted, right? My question is, why is the Grenfell Tower fire and that community in your mouth?
Okay.
What has he and his wife done to support that community? I know what the answer is. It's rhetorical. And finally, and is it another case of somebody or some people trying to come in and take credit for the work somebody else has done? So I'm going to put it plain and simple for people to understand. There's no ambiguities here, right? We've all seen it before in work or whatever, where a non-black person comes in and tries to take credit for the work that a black person has successfully put together. Ladies, what do you think?
Okay, so I'm actually going to give them a little bit anyway, because the National Emergency Trust, was set up for national emergencies, not just Grenfell, also for the London Bridge. The London Bridge
massacre,
terrorist attacks,
the
terrorist attacks, and other things as well. I think this is, and I'm not saying that the Unables haven't got anything to do with this, because I'm sure they have, but I do think this is also a media narrative that they are using. Remember I said earlier in our earlier segment, they have become a little bit cleverer, and a little bit more covert. And I think focusing and honing in on Grenfell is their way of, again, trying to put Meghan in her place, trying to undermine her, trying to negate her contribution. However, where Kane and Unable really get it from me is his statement about the support and donations weren't organised enough. That to me is a slight against Meghan in terms of the support, because as we know, when the Together cookbook was launched, they were all part of the Royal Foundation. That Royal Foundation has benefited from over 500,000 in sales of that cookbook. They have benefited from that. We know the Doolittles do exactly as it says on the tin. They do little, right? We know that. So the real test of time is going to show exactly how they really do organise the donations and support when it comes to national emergencies. Because I can tell you now, they won't be anywhere to be blinking seen. You won't see them apart from when a ribbon needs cutting. That's when they'll turn up, when a ribbon needs cutting.
Exactly.
Right? So again, this whole taking credit for their work, that's just what they do. They don't know, and this is why I'm going to give them a little bit of a blind, because they don't know how to do anything else. I'm telling you. But it's true. They don't know. Until Meghan came along, they were quite happy sitting on their sofa and getting dressed up every few nights to go to some gala or something. That was their life. You know, they didn't know any different. But now they've got to. This is a real learning curve for them. Paul Kane, and you know, they must be absolutely shattered. They've never worked so hard. Did he not say the other day? Did he not say? But it's true. Did he not say the other day he hasn't got time to see his children? So you've got 3 kids. What have you been doing for the past how many years?
Pruning roses.
Exactly. Pruning roses. Get out the damn garden. You know.
Oh yeah. What I'll also say is that with regards to the whole with the Grenfell, when that tragedy happened, William did visit the tower, did visit the place. He went there with the Queen, and then we heard, and then
yes, he did.
Yeah, and didn't they do something, rebuild something with that guy on TV?
He did, Nick Knowles. They did the DIY SOS, but Harry was also involved in that. It was William and Harry that did that.
It was both of them?
Yeah,
I didn't watch
Harry
it, to be
there.
fair.
Yeah, Harry was there.
Okay.
It was Harry was there as well.
But what was that with regards to Grenfell, or was something else?
It was to do with so what it was for the Grenfell residents. So it was to help that community with their housing. Okay. So it wasn't actually the tower. I mean, the tower literally
of course,
it's on my doorstep. You know, I pass it on at least 3 or 4 times a week, and it's still covered over with the mesh because I haven't knocked it down yet. I mean, you must know it, Sandra. It's by Westfield.
Yeah, see it all the time. Yeah. It's really sad. This is my take on it. Yes, Kane, you did go with Betty to visit the day after people went, and they asked you when you're coming back. 2.5 years later, you come back.
Thank you.
Right, that's my first bit.
But did he go back, or because I still can't figure out where were they actually at Grenfell, or are they just mentioning Grenfell?
They mentioned Grenfell. There was people from Grenfell at the launch of this.
At the launch, right?
The launch of the NET thing. So my second thing is, you talk about the donations and support after Grenfell seemed like it wasn't well targeted. Let me tell you something, Mr. Kane. Right? The day after that fire started, I was at work, and because we know the area and stuff, we were getting stuff from our house, and we were donating stuff and taking stuff down there, right? Now, it shouldn't have been for people who've been burnt up in a fire to be organising where donations should be taken. That should have been the local council, who were a disgrace. They couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery.
Absolutely.
Right? They didn't organise it correctly. So rather than making these vague statements about, it wasn't well organised and whatever it is, you need to look at the council for that area, who get paid mega bucks in council tax, but did nothing with it. And it was because of their poor decision making by putting that awful cladding on that building, is why that building went up like a firework. Yeah. So let's go down to my next point. The person who actually did something for that community was Meghan. She came over to the UK. She just got engaged to Harry, and she was making private visits to that community.
Whilst planning her wedding.
Exactly. She saw what needed to be done. She worked with the community to ask them what she could do to help. And they came up with a cookbook, which has raised so much money and has allowed that community to have that kitchen open 7 days a week, be feeding thousands. So come back to my original question. Why is Grenfell Tower and that community in your mouth? You did nothing.
Kane, you hear that? Why is it in your mouth?
Well, it's in the mouth because
Yeah.
Grenfell. They recently had the report out, and
Mhm.
it's now a hot topic. So of
But you know
course,
that
in order for them to stay relevant, they have to be up with the hot topics. Grenfell, which is on their doorstep, is a hot topic, and
Of course, I forgot to say that. Yes, Grenfell is in the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea.
Kensington and
Yes.
Chelsea. Of course it is.
But
However,
what did the Royal Borough do? Nothing.
well, and well, the thing is, it's a real borough of two halves, isn't it? You've got the
Yes.
very rich
Yes.
and the very poor. You know, you in that same borough, you've got some very, very famous, very, very rich people living, and you've also got the Traveller Park just under
Yeah. Yeah.
Westway. You know,
Good
so
God,
it's a
yeah.
real so it's a real, borough of two halves, and you can tell who is looked after there. But what
Mhm.
I will say about Cain and Unable is that, and that's the other thing. We haven't even touched on that. She wasn't supposed to be there, right? It was his engagement, and she literally at the last minute it was announced that she was going to accompany him to that particular engagement. Why that one? Why
Mhm.
that one? We never hear of her at the last minute changing their mind again. And it's things like that. They may well be innocent, but it's things like that that make them seem not particularly innocent and also complicit in trying to undermine Meghan's efforts. So they don't help themselves, because she literally went to that and then she went back home.
Yeah. But also, last week, was it Meghan did an event to do with, what was it to do with
was it the one at Windsor Castle?
that's the one. And she
Oh,
Yeah.
decided to
Yeah.
the
bring
coffee morning.
that's right.
Yeah.
And then she said, you know what, I'm gonna invite Harry to come with me too.
No,
And
that's not the sorry.
there's one, not the coffee
Gail.
morning, the one where she was in the
It was
burgundy.
The young world,
yeah.
the
That's
young
it, thank
world, the
you.
one young
Yes.
world. Yeah.
Yeah. And she invited Harry. She said, oh, Harry, come along with me because it'll be of interest to you.
Yeah.
Not 2 weeks later.
Thank
Not
you. That's
2
what I
weeks
mean.
later.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jokers. Joker 1 and Joker 2 did exactly the same thing. Well,
Yeah.
have they
Joker
no
one.
shame?
Or
Have they no
only
shame?
difference-
my
the
new
only
names
diff-
for
sorry.
them. Hold on. My new names for them are Waffle and Kerfuffle. Right. Yeah. Waffle and Kerfuffle. And they're interchangeable. You can call either one either. Waffle and Kerfuffle. They're my new names.
But check this with Harry. Yeah, Harry has always been interested in gender equality. You know, he's always been about that shit, and I think that's one of that. And Meghan has said, you know, that Harry's a feminist. So it did not surprise me at all that he would be invited along to that engagement, even though it was very much in her wheelhouse. It was, you know, it was about, you know, gender equality, female empowerment, and that sort of thing. But this is something that her husband is also interested in long before she came on the scene. So this whole narrative that she made him into a feminist, no, Harry's been about that for a long time. Check out videos on YouTube doing the He for She campaign, in which he was talking, with Emma
I mean,
Watson.
it doesn't take much. It's only a little bit of it. Look, Google is your best friend.
Yes.
You know, Google
Or
is your best friend.
better yet, Truth Hurts is your best friend on Twitter.
Oh, I tell you, another one.
Yes.
Got to shout her out. Is it just some girly?
At Jason Gurley.
Yeah, at Jason Gurley. Got to shout them. I tell you, and this is why. You know, just a quick reference to Sussex Squad. People think that we're a fandom. We're not a fandom. We don't. You know, we're not here to fawn and fall at Meghan and Harry's feet. We're here to support their efforts because we see our reflection in them. It's about supporting people who just want to have a positive impact, you know, use their influence, use their platforms for the best good that they can. And in doing so, they are being bullied, victimized, vilified, you know, hated on, lied on, to prop up what? To prop up this ancient, outdated. I mean, all I can say, as time has gone on, I just say, you know what? Girls
Abolish
and
the
boys,
lot.
girls and boys, you go for it, because let me tell you now, their fan base is old.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Their fan base is old.
And you know what happened to old people? They
die. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
They die.
And the whole situation just really got me, because I think it does parallel what happens to black people in the UK. I don't know about the rest of the world, where you have black people who will do successful projects in work, and then these people just swoop in and take credit for it, and you're like, hold up a minute, wait, what's going on?
Hold on a minute,
yeah.
Because I know you didn't do no work for this, but you're coming to my launch party to say that you supported me, and if it wasn't for them, this project wouldn't be where it is, and I worked on it too. No, you didn't. You didn't do nothing, right? You didn't do a damn thing. So that's what upset me more than anything. You know, they can talk about to their blue in the face, but don't take credit for somebody else's work. Don't sit there cussing somebody and saying they didn't do a good job when you didn't do a damn thing to help.
Well,
Please.
it's the whole narrative. It's the whole narrative about hypocrisy as well. Hello. It's the whole narrative about hypocrisy as well. You can't get more hypocritical than people who say that they are the patrons, they are the champions and the cheerleaders for mental health and anti-bullying and cyberbullying. I'm sorry, when you have, this is not your third cousin twice removed on your mother's side, right? This is your brother. Your brother and his wife are being bullied. People are leaving nasty comments on your social media, not your friends, not your neighbours, but your social media. I can guarantee, the same way how everybody thinks that Meghan writes the Sussex Royal Post and that Meghan's controlling it, it's Meghan's Instagram. But I'm sorry, Kensington Palace is your Instagram. Waffle and Kerfuffle are responsible for the social media on both Twitter and Instagram. And the things that I have seen on there, I'm like, why are they not just instantly deleted? It shouldn't be left to us, the Sussex Squad, to report and block these accounts. They should be reporting and blocking them themselves.
Yeah. But it just goes to show they're complicit. So
of course they are.
There's not much more we can say on that, really.
It's a short-term strategy. That's what it is.
Well, it's not.
It's a very short-term strategy.
But it's not a wise strategy. It's actually, they're showing themselves up to. They're basically embarrassing themselves.
They are showing their ass, as Beyonce would say.
Yeah, and it's not gonna work well for them in the future. So they need to.
Yeah, because then old people die.
Yeah, they need to nip this in the bud and stop this nonsense on their social media, because it just makes them look bad. So anyway, that's that one. So the final point we want to discuss today, and I think this would be much more positive, is the private visit of Meghan to the opening of the new site for the Luminary Bakery. So on the 1st of November 2019, Meghan made a private visit to a new location for the Luminary, thank you, Bakery in Camden, which is in northwest London. Sussex Royal released a video of the visit where Meghan looks so relaxed and happy to be there. Meghan highlighted the bakery when she guest edited the September 2019 edition of British Vogue, and she talked about the work that the bakery did for the women who were recently released from prison or who had survived domestic violence, by teaching them how to bake, how to learn to control their finances, use computers, and basically helping them to find work in a bakery or anywhere else. The bakery has transformed the lives of over 50 women, and Meghan has called it a place to bake and heal. So, what do we think of that?
Love it.
Love it.
I love it. So, Luminary Bakery, they've got two sites, one in Stoke Newington, Hackney Way, and the other one now in Camden. And I remember when I first read about it in the Vogue, I thought, wow, what a great idea, because I am a baker. I love baking. That's how I relax. That's my thing. And I thought, what a great idea. And I love the fact that they all their cakes are decorated nude. That's what we call the way they decorate. It's called nude decor, and so it's nice and simple, but they're very, very on trend. So I thought, imagine that you've been given a second chance to not only learn how to bake and life skills and organization and management skills and all that stuff, but you've also got, if you wanted to, you could set up your own thing doing nude cakes because they are so popular. Mm-hmm. So I love that whole concept and ethos anyway. But the point about Meghan visiting, I don't think it's undercover. I just think that they've got a new strategy, i.e. we're going to go and do what we need to do, and we're going to tell people what we're doing. The people we're not going to tell are the people we don't need to tell, which are royal reporters, because we don't need you.
Exactly.
Right? We don't need you. They've got a big enough platform and a big enough mouthpiece via their supporters and via the social media that they don't. Royal reporters, I feel a bit sorry for them because they are now catching. Well, I do, because they're only now catching up and catching on. That actually you're redundant.
Mm.
You are actually redundant. If Jabba the Hutt or Palmolive or
Emu the Seer
or Camel Toe, if they didn't turn up at a particular royal event, would it make any difference now in this day and age? Would it make a difference?
Not a damn thing. Yeah, exactly.
Make any difference.
I think that Meghan and Harry have got a brilliant PR press strategy. You take your own. You take your own media team with you.
Yeah, take your own.
Video
Everyone's got an iPhone.
Yeah, you video
smartphone.
it. Yeah, you video it, you edit it, and you release it on your own social media platform. Do you need a royal reporter? Hell no.
Or if you want to take a journalist, take a credible one, like she did, like Bryony Gordon.
Yeah,
I like that lady.
Yeah, I loved her article as well. Her article was brilliant.
I love the article. Fabulous.
Yeah. So I think if I was a royal, I'd be looking at Meghan and Harry and seeing how they did it, and I'd be using them as the way to do your press for yourself in the future. Have your own have your own media, have your own photographer, you edit your stuff and you put it out there. You don't need them. You don't need them. You just put it out to the news outlets and that's it.
But this is why I am not mad with Waffle and Kerfuffle, because what they've done is they've sat and they've observed and now they're copying, because that's what they do.
Copy and paste.
They copy and paste. Exactly. They are copy and paste. Why they are trapped, however, is that they believe their own hype. They believe that the newspapers and these reporters that are currently blowing smoke up their arse are right. They do not realise that the real control comes from those on the grassroots. And because Harry and Meghan, they don't care. And the great thing about both Harry and Meghan, especially Harry, is that all of his madness and badness has already been done. We know it all. Right? They've already exposed him. They already hung him out to dry, threw him under the bus, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So he's got nothing to hide. He doesn't need them. They've got nothing to hold over him. Right? We saw Harry running naked down the corridor of a Las Vegas hotel. Right? So we don't care.
Yeah.
Playing naked pool.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. We don't care. The others, however, especially the alleged, the alleged fiddler on the roof, right, in the palace, right, him, the poor man can't sleep at night, I bet. He's probably doing finger exercises as we speak, trying to slim down his fingers.
Oh my God, that's so true.
I'm dying.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
I tell you.
Oh my days.
Oh,
but yeah, no, but it's true. It's this. They have Harry and Meghan are ahead of the game. They have basically set up how to do an event yourself. So even if they do have the royal reporters there at a public event, they still have their own
Yeah.
Their own film crew. They can have their own photographer there. They can talk to a journalist that they want to, and then they put out their own message. You can't lose. You can't lose.
You can't lose. And the thing is, you know, I know we're coming to the end, so to end it on a real positive, is that anyone with, you don't even need a whole brain cell, half will do, right? But anyone can see that they are both the same. The essence of them is exactly the same before they knew each other than it is today. What they have done is that they have both amplified each other, right? And that's a beautiful thing to see. So when they do events like this together, it makes them even more powerful, because we know that it's sincere, it's genuine. I don't care what anyone says, those two are soulmates. They are in love. They love each other very dearly, right?
Yep.
It's not just a case, oh, I love you, so I'm going to marry you, and then you've got to walk 10 paces behind me. Or it's, I'm not referring to anyone in particular. Or it's not a case of, or it's not a case of, you know, well, you've waited this long, come on then, we might as well. What you doing Saturday? You know, they are a love match.
Yeah,
they are,
it's good.
And then it's lovely. It's lovely, and you can see when she's out in places like, you know, the Luminary Bakery, or she's at the coffee morning with the other mums, you know, or she's standing on the balcony. Yeah, you know, the woman is happy. She's content. She's content,
and that's what's killing them. That's what's killing them.
That's what's killing them. Going back to, with regards to that article, did you both read the article from Brian Gordon?
Yeah.
Did you remember the quote saying that Meghan? I'm probably misquoting her here, but she says she doesn't want people to love her, but
that's right. She just wants them to hear her,
to hear her, you know, and that struck me. Because people are, you know, she's been accused of pandering and doing all sorts of things to sort of gain favor, which that, you know, I never thought that to be the case in the first place. I just saw her as someone who was, you know, doing her level best to fit into this very strange world that she's married in, you know, this completely alien culture of the archaic British monarchy. It's a head fuck for anyone, let alone a formerly, you know, a woman who had lived her life on her own terms, as earning her own money, and is American. You know, I don't think you know that. I mean, marrying into that world would be, you know, a minefield for anyone. You know, and you know, good for her for like doing her. She's obviously keeping her head above water, because obviously it's been a massive learning curve for her to see that she's been you know, she's now living in a fucking snake pit. You know, and
if she thought her step family were bad.
Yeah. But my thing is with that is, I don't think she's just about keeping her head above water. I think she is way above the water. I think she's doing fine. I just think that other people around them, as you said, they're in a viper's nest at the moment, are trying to shoot them down. And I think that the fact that she's got Harry for her support, and she's got her mother, I think that she is still putting out her initiatives, what she wants to get done. She's still supporting her patronages. She is doing fantastically well.
She's working. She's working.
Yeah, it's just the powers that be. It's the establishment is trying to take her down. But she is doing such a good job. They know, basically, they need her more than she needs them.
Look. At the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, they thought, and I know they thought this, I'd be willing to bet my house that they thought Meghan was this glitzy American actress who was coming into the royal family for the privilege and the glamour, and I can wear all the dresses, and because that's the narrative they tried to push early on, that she was just going to come in.
They're still trying to push that by itemizing every item of a fucking wardrobe.
Exactly. That's what they thought. But my girl came over ready to work. She came over to plan her wedding. Yes, she was planning her wedding, but she still produced the cookbook. She still made the connection. Pray tell me how Meghan is in the country less than 2 years, right? But she can find Luminary Bakery.
Exactly.
Right. She can find She can find Smart Works.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She can, so this is a woman who is used to, this is nothing. Meghan hasn't even broken a sweat yet. She's probably thinking, what are these British people getting their knickers in a twist about? Haven't even done anything yet. This is nothing to her. This is a woman that's used to work, and she probably thinks she's slowing down. She probably thinks, Imagine if I really ramped it up.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a woman that they're completely overwhelmed and stunned by. They can't support because they know they've got the fiddler on the roof, so they can't support her openly because it would mean exposing him. Because at the end of the day, the reporter's got to write about something. We've got the gardener, Percy Thrower, who's running around in the rose bushes, and right. So the poor woman is the sacrificial lamb, isn't she?
Yeah.
Poor love.
Yeah.
But all she wants to do is do her work. That's all she wants. She just wants to get on and do her work.
Mm-hmm.
And love her husband and be a mum to her lovely baby.
Exactly. And look at her husband, sexiest dad. Oh my God, poor Kane. He's going to go absolutely ape.
Well, Kane wasn't even nominated. So,
but why would he be? I'll tell you what. If he was
with his
nominated,
bald head,
I'd be vexed. Exactly, I'd be vexed. So then I'd know that's nothing but lip service. Because ain't no one looking at him finding him attractive. Not even the woman lying down next to him every night, whichever one.
I mean, there was a time when he was actually. There was a time. There was a time when he was labeled people's sexiest man, but that was when he was
17.
When was that?
When he was a teenager. Of course, when he had flipping hair.
When he had hair.
Yeah.
When
he had hair, that's when he was declared. When he was once, people's sexiest man. I'm sure it was him. Or
he was. Yeah, he was. No, he was when he was young. He was.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, it's all I'm going to say. Well.
And with regards to Luminary Bakery, shout out to my girl Benjamina from Great British Bake Off 2000.
Oh yeah.
2016, 2017. That was a wonderful class of bakers. She's one. I think she's someone that is involved with Luminary Bakery. She was at that launch as well. So that was awesome. I love Benjamina. I follow her on Instagram because her food stylings are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And I just love seeing black girls doing well and thriving.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So, anyways, so we've covered. I think we've covered everything today. All right. So, I've got one more thing to add. The website for A Duchess Like Us is now live. So the web address is aduchesslikeus.com, and it went live last week. So we've got all the episodes so far on the website, and I'm going to probably expand it and do some other bits and pieces on there as well. So probably write some blog posts and other bits and pieces.
I was going to say, would you like me to write some stuff up? In fact, I've got a couple of articles that I've written already regarding Meghan that we can put on there if you like.
Yeah, so we'll look at that. So it's in the discussion phase at the moment. I'm trying to think of other things I want to put on there too. So so the website's live. Go and have a look at it. It's at www.aduchesslikeus.com, and you will see all of the episodes on there and just a little bit about the website and all that sort of stuff and about the podcast. So that's up and available. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to my wonderful co-host for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Don't forget to send in questions and or topics that you'd like to have discussed on future episodes. If you'd like to be a guest panelist on the podcast, please reach out to me at hello@aduchesslikeus.com on email or DM me at DuchessUs on Twitter. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and please share with anyone else you think would be interested in listening to the podcast. If you have time, I'd be grateful if you could leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, which is iTunes basically, as it helps more people to see the podcast. I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode and you'll come back for more. So I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.